कारण क्या है कि अमेरिका को देख के भाग गया, जेडी वांस को देख के भाग गया। लेकिन एक बात है, यहाँ से खुली आवाज खुली, यहाँ से खुली देखेंगे नहीं और चला बम बम। इसमें नहीं आ रही। हेलो हेलो, उनको बोले, इनको ऑडियो तो दो, फ्लोर पे
in the Middle East permanently, or do we go back to doing things the old way, which is not our preference, but it's certainly very much something that can happen. I have a few other notes of appreciation. First of all, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Dear friend of the President, a dear friend of mine, a guy who has been, through his leadership and his very careful and skilled negotiations, got us to this point. To his Field Marshal in Pakistan, Asim Munir. I will say that since Field Marshal Munir welcomed us with the Prime Minister in Islamabad, I have joked that I have two very, very important people in my life, an Indian and a Pakistani. The Indian is my wife, and the Pakistani is Field Marshal Munir. I probably talked to Field Marshal Munir more than I talked to anybody else over the last 3 months. We would not be here without his statesmanship. He is, of course, a great military leader, but I think he showed himself to be a great diplomat. And of course, to Sheikh Mohammed, who's an amazing friend of the United States of America, but has been also an important part of getting us to this point. I think it's important to the American people, but people all over the world to appreciate that what's brought us to this moment is the President's leadership and the President's willingness to see a Middle East that is much different 10 years from now than it was 10 years ago. And what we're trying to accomplish here is something very simple. Through diplomacy, through working together to transform the Middle East, where Iran and the Gulf have been at war with each other, or at least have had very unfriendly relations, where Iran has been a driver of regional instability. Now we see a future where everybody can work together to promote peace and prosperity for everyone. What we have already seen back home in the United States is lower gas prices. We've seen the free flow of oil and gas. We've seen peace. And now we're trying to build on that to see if we can build something even better and more sustainable for the future. This is a historic meeting. Never before, outside of Islamabad and here, so outside the last few months, never before has the Iranian and American leadership met at such a high level. What the President has asked us to do is turn over a new leaf, to transform our relationship with the people of Iran and to extend an outstretched hand that says to the people of Iran that if your leadership is willing to give up being a driver of regional instability, if they are willing to give up nuclear weapons ambitions for the long term, then the United States is willing to fundamentally transform our relationship with that country. That is certainly our goal. We've already made great progress over just the last few hours, and I expect that we'll make additional progress in the hours to come. Thank you all. Let Sheikh Mohammed speak, please.
First of all, I would like to welcome you here to the last president, the Prime Minister, your leadership, and to not the leadership actually initiating that process, that was today. I think that everyone of you has highlighted how important it is in our work, that and how difficult is that agreement, not only on the security of the region, but also for the security of the world, for the global international. But we have done, and what we have achieved, we did achieve it without communication, and the hard work that was done by you, Mr. Vice President, and Mr. Silverstone, and Jilani-H, Prime Minister, and Field Marshal, and also on the Iranian side from Iran, and all of you for your leadership and determination that put us in this role, and this is not really the main celebration. Our celebration will reach the ultimate occasion. Hopefully it's just a beginning, and I wish everyone all the best. However, we'll stay dedicated to this partnership to support these mediations, until we reach a solution. We will always be involved in bringing more peace, prosperity, and hopefully better future for our country. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sheikh. So guys, we'll take just a couple of questions and then we're going to have to kick out the media and get started with the hard work. Go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you. Do you have a message for Prime Minister Netanyahu with regards to Israel's military operations in Lebanon?
Well, first of all, we've seen great progress over the last just couple of days in ensuring that the ceasefire holds in Lebanon. These things are always a little bit messy. If you go back to how much was happening 3 months ago and compare it to 3 weeks ago, great progress has been made. If you go back to 3 weeks ago to 3 days ago, additional progress has been made. The president has committed us to see a full regional ceasefire. We found great partners in working with the Qataris, Pakistanis, our friends in Israel. We're all working towards regional peace. There, of course, are going to be sometimes disagreements about precisely how to get there, but I actually feel great about where we are in Lebanon. There's still some additional wood to chop, but we're going to keep on working at it.
Is 6 days still realistic?
Well, ma'am, I think that the President of the United States and the United States of America have done more to stop the conflict in Lebanon than any government anywhere in the world over the last few months. We're going to keep on working towards it. As I think a lot of you appreciate, peace is never easy. Peace always requires a little bit of work. It always requires a little bit of give and take. But the President of the United States is committed not just to peace between the United States and Iran. The President is committed to a regional peace, which is why we're here working so hard to settle our issues. The one last comment I want to make is what today really represents is the beginning of a technical negotiation that's not going to solve every disagreement, but is going to allow us to sit together as teams for the first time really in history to figure out what matters most to the respective parties, to settle those issues, to solve those issues, and get to a better tomorrow. The reason why the political leadership of the respective countries is here is because we wanted to, first of all, set up the structure for these technical negotiations, and second of all, make sure that our teams have our full support and know they can always call on us to break through any barriers. We have a lot of work to do. We're excited to do it. Thank you all.
Mr. Vice President, please.
We just heard from the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance was quoted as saying that I have two good people in my life, my wife and the other is Field Marshal Sayyidat Jilani-H. He also stated that we now see a future where U.S. and Iran can work together. He called the meeting a historic one and said that never before has the Iranian and American leadership met at such a high level. He said that the U.S.